All right, on to the Cincinnati Bengals. They kicked it off with Myles Murphy, the edge out of Clemson, cornerback DJ Turner out of Michigan in the second round, safety Jordan Battle out of Alabama in the third, wide receiver Charlie Jones at Purdue, running back Chase Brown out of Illinois, Andre Yosivas from Princeton, the wide receiver, is that right?
Yosivas.
Or
Yoshivas, depending on who you listen to.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And then a punter, round 6, Brad Robinson out of Michigan. Michigan just pumping out special teamers, kickers, and punters in this draft. And then cornerback DJ Ivey out of Miami in round 7. What did you think of the Bengals draft, Sam?
Yeah, I liked it quite a lot. My concern for them going into this was where's the right tackle coming from? But if they think that they can get Jonah Williams to kick over to right tackle to play there and to get back towards his baseline of previous years, not what he did last year, giving up 13 sacks, then that's fine. Myles Murphy at 28, I think is good value. There's questions about his tape. He didn't really get any better from his freshman season, where he looked like he was going to become like one of those guys, one of those true elite edge rusher prospects. But the flashes have been there all the way along. Like, you turn on his tape at any period and you see, oh wow, this guy has the potential to be amazing. He's quick twitch, he's big, he's got all the traits you want. So to take him at 28, I think is really good value. Your guy, DJ Turner, model guy, cornerback in the second round, good value. Jordan Battle in the third is great value. Charlie Jones, that could be your replacement for Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
They're going to need to get cheaper at certain places before too long. Charlie Jones could easily end up being, the Tyler Boyd replacement before long. And then Chase Brown in the 5th round. Like, this is a draft, it's long on running backs. Chase Brown could easily be a big part of that offense, replace Samaje Perine. And then Andre Yosivas, the receiver, I mean, him and Charlie Jones, I think, are going to compete for return duties. And Yosivas has, like, the potential to develop down the line in this world where my gut reaction now is that T. Higgins is going to take the Jesse Bates pathway. I don't think they plan on keeping him around long term. I think they plan on keeping him reasonably short term, to the point where they'll 5th-year option, franchise tag, and then
there's no 5th-year option, but the'll be year 4
right.
here and then franchise tag.
Right. So year 4 and then franchise tag, and then draw a line and say we're not going beyond that. If that's the case, that's like a 2-year pathway for Yosivas to develop into that secondary guy.
See, I think a draft like this gives them the opportunity to play with the idea of keeping Jamar Chase and T. Higgins long-term, of course, with Joe Burrow long-term. And the Bengals are one of the more interesting teams because we're trying to figure out how they can make all that work going forward. And I think their draft is the best combination of short, intermediate, and long-term needs being addressed without sacrificing value. There was no point in this draft where I think they drafted a player way higher than expected just because it's like, man, we really need this position. And then I like where they spent the draft capital. So edge defender Myles Murphy, who, the Bengals said they had him in the top half of the 1st round. Other people did too. That's not egregious. Power rusher. Didn't really develop at Clemson into the guy that you expected, but he's a very good run defender and should be a solid pass rusher. At least if he provides Sam Hubbard-like production, which is good, solid, late 1st round type of production, I think that's a fair expectation. But he becomes insurance now for Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, making all that money at edge, and Murphy becomes that cheaper option over the next couple of years because we've got to deploy resources elsewhere. Same thing with DJ Turner. Do you need a starting corner this year? Not necessarily. Cam Taylor-Britt and Chidobe Awuzie are there, but Awuzie is in the last year of his contract. Turner can compete for time right away. Yeah, the model loves him, but he's incredibly athletic, was productive at Michigan. He has a chance to contribute right away, but also in the long term. Mm-hmm. Jordan Battle at safety. He's going to be one of the more fascinating prospects because the production's incredible and the workout's terrible. So we'll see what wins out there, but he's got a chance to play right away at safety as well and give you a cheaper option at an important position. And then, as you mentioned, the receivers, like if Charlie Jones he absolutely could take over for Tyler Boyd, who they won't be able to afford after this year. So I think it's a very good job of immediate needs without sacrificing value, but also future-proofing this roster that's going to have to deploy a ton of resources and make this roster really top-heavy.
As a general concept, would you be more willing to overlook crappy measurables from players out of blue blood programs in the SEC. You know, like you just played multiple years at Alabama, where you're going to get an idea if the lack of measurables is a problem or not. Like obviously, ideally, you want elite measurables combined with elite tape. But if you're going to have a guy with terrible measurables, I would like at least to have the evidence that he's already been doing this at a high level in a very good conference going up against elite NFL players versus, you know, my guy played for Eastern Michigan, where I don't really know if this is an issue yet because the players he's going up against and playing alongside are not very good either.
Yes, I'm more likely to do that. I think it also depends on the position. I think bad measurables are scary at corner. They are a little scary at safety. I think there's definitely some players, because safety is it's more of a football intelligence type of position than pure athleticism, being in the right place at the right time in the right spot. And it's a lot of usage pattern, right? Like you don't want guys with bad measurables, you know, either playing center field too often unless they're really good with their eyes and seeing the game. You don't want them one-on-one with receivers when you play quarters, because they're just going to get destroyed. So I think usage for battle is going to be important there. So yeah, it's a good question, right? Like where do you draw that line? The numbers I've looked at say I'm more willing to overlook bad production with great measurables at, say, corner, whereas safety, I think it's a little more hit or miss, because you have guys like an Adrian Amos who have had really good productive careers. He's not an outstanding athlete, but he's a very good football player, and there's a lot of hidden value in those types. All that said, like Jordan Battle going at round 3, pick 95, that's great. It's first round tape with third round movement skills, in my opinion, for Battle. So I'll take that in the third round all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, Charlie Jones, Eusebius, chance to add to that receiving core and keep it strong. Yeah, the only question is, do they need to do something at right tackle? And we'll see if they...
Which, if Jonah Williams is the answer, you don't really. I mean, you know.
Lyle Collins is still theoretically in the mix?
Yeah, like he'll come back.
I don't want to roll with Akeem Adeniji.
Yes. Lyle Collins will come back, but he tore 3 significant ligaments in his knee. That's problematic for anybody, let alone a guy with an injury history of the extent and length that his is. So, you know, Jonah Williams being your starter at right tackle, hopefully he can play the same level he was playing left tackle before last year, and then Lyle Collins working his way back to try and be the backup there. That's fine. Like, no problem.
Yeah, the only places where you would say, okay, what else did they not address? Maybe a little bit more on the defensive line, maybe a nose tackle. DJ Reader's he's in the last year of his contract. Bring somebody in there. But I also think the way the defensive tackle market is going, there's a bunch of guys in that $5 to $8 million range that you could bring in and kind of stitch it together there. So I think the Bengals are in good shape, and it was a good draft, like I said, for short, intermediate, long-term needs, like what the Bengals did. We gave them an A over at PFF.com.
There you go.